So one thing I was thinking was about how building a solo practice or a group practice can be really tough. So I put together a couple things to just help you move from being overwhelmed to building a thriving, profitable practice that you absolutely love. So I started putting together a lot of these things, and we turned it into a whole course. So we're calling it the basics of practice. There's one for solopreneurs, solo practitioners, and then also another one for group practitioners. You can see all of the videos over at practiceofthepractice.com/basics. But just like some of the lessons that are in there is we talk about private practice mindsets. We talk about exactly how to have the exact steps for establishing a successful group or solo. We talk about specific ways of marketing, networking, hiring, those things that you absolutely need to have a practice. So I just put that together for you. It's over at practiceofthepractice.com/basics. This is the Practice of the Practice podcast with Joe Sanok, session number 1393. I'm Joe Sanok, your host, and welcome to the Practice of the Practice podcast, where we help you build a thriving private practice you absolutely love. We want both sides of that. We want you to be thriving, doing well, making money, serving clients, but also we want you to absolutely love your practice. We want you to love your website. We want you to love your marketing. We want it to feel like it's an extension of the work that you're creating in the world, that we don't have to sell ourselves out in order to have a practice that really, is successful. We want it to represent who you are, all your uniqueness, all your dorkiness, all of who you are, in whatever ways we can help you learn that. So that's why we bring in people to talk about everything private practice. So if you've been following for a bit, you've noticed that I've been building Great Lakes Online Counseling, which has been just a side gig counseling practice I'm starting, working just 2 hours a week, kind of walking through how that goes. So we do that each week, bring in guests. So all sorts of things happening. Also, you may have noticed that Melissa is doing some podcast takeovers. She's going to be doing that once a month, just kind of following her curiosity on the show. So all sorts of different angles that we're having in here. We often say in the Practice Academy, which is our membership community, that no one has the corner market on knowledge. So just because I do all this work and maybe know a few things doesn't mean that in community we don't have even more knowledge together. So we find lots of ways in the Practice Academy to help you just tap into that knowledge. And so today I'm super excited to tap into even more knowledge. We're here with Shayah Reed, who is a website strategist who helps therapists and private practice owners turn their websites into consistent client generation tools. Through clear messaging, thoughtful design, and conversion-focused strategy, she teaches clinicians how to build websites that attract the right clients and guide them confidently toward booking. Her work focuses on helping therapists move beyond online brochures and create sites that actively support practice growth. Shayah, welcome to the Practice Practice podcast.
Hi, Joe. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here
Yeah,
today.
websites are never like, even if we've covered it a million times, there's new and different ways of thinking about it. And so excited to talk websites and conversions with you today. Uh,
Yes,
so online
absolutely.
brochures in your bio, so that so many practices still have basically a PDF of a website that just says, I went to this college, fill in the blank, I'm licensed here in this state, and I serve probably individuals, couples, and families that are dealing with anxiety, depression, and all sorts of things that sound generic.
hmm
So, why are we still doing that?
Very generic. Yes, I know. And it's very common. A lot of things we see on websites across the board in therapy practices is talking too much about themselves, their experience, their credentials, their expertise, their mission, which, yes, you want to mention those things, but we really want the copy and the content on your website to be more client focused. And we want to have aspirational and outcome based copy. So the method that we like to follow at Virtual Balance, my design agency, where we work with therapists and health practitioners, is called Story Brand by
Mm.
Donald Miller. Have you heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. His work is really great. So we follow a copywriting method through there. If your listeners haven't read the book, it's a really great resource just to even learn how to talk about your practice and your business in a way that resonates with people. But this is really using a client focused approach. And this needs to be applied all throughout your website. But one area that we really like to implement this is on the About page. So the About page is often an area where practitioners are always just talking about themselves. And we like to have our clients switch from about me or about us to how we help. So it's more about you. And there's kind of like a simple, I'll give you like an example of a structure here. So some of the content you could use on that to talk about like how we help would be like, we understand how hard it can feel when X, and we're honored to have helped so many clients achieve Y and find happiness through our ABC approach. So this way you're making it outcome based. You're talking about the client, you understand what their struggles are. So you're still relating to them, and you're also talking about you've helped a lot of people achieve happiness or whatever it is, and through your specific approach. So you're still talking a little bit about yourself, but you're making it more client focused. And of course, inviting them to book an appointment or take the next step with you. So you kind of want to have that style of copy all throughout the website. Yeah, and another big piece with copy is also making sure that you always lean into root cause problems. So we see often a lot of therapists using like jargon that they have learned in school and know in practice. Even like it is common now that people are learning terms like EMDR and things like that. Like search volume is picking up for that. But the main thing people are still searching for and talking to AI and ChatGPT about is root cause problems. So, for example, if anxiety and like self-isolation is a symptom, then maybe if the fear of rejection could be a root. So talking about fear of rejection and like leaning into some of that type of copy, especially in your blogging, will really help as well.
So I guess like what turns clients away?
So I would say that it's really easy these days for people to pick up on DIY websites, templated websites. I mean, you don't have to be a designer to recognize, oh, that website was probably professionally done. Especially nowadays, people are really informed consumers, and they're browsing around online. They're using AI, especially private pay and self-pay clients. Like they're really looking around to choose where to invest their money because they're also making a purchasing decision, right? So they're often looking at dozens of websites, and they're starting to recognize like what websites look like they're done well. And this can really help to build your credibility through design and branding. I think that quality design really signals professionalism and makes you look legitimate. So if people are browsing around and they're thinking like, this person is maybe not investing in their practice, maybe they're not serious or legitimate or as far along, should I trust them? Are they credible? So I think that's something that really is coming up.
So like what screams AI? What screams like I'm not really putting much into this?
Okay, so this comes down. Okay, I'll share a few like key design tips that build trust and credibility, like subconsciously. And these are typical that you can notice between a DIY website and one that's done professionally most of the time. So clean, simple, static design is still best. There are some trends in design right now with animations, hover effects, moving pieces, like scrolling pieces, but these trends don't apply to all industries. So in health, wellness, medical, it's still shown that these increase bounce rate actually. And when people are coming to your website, they're already feeling overwhelmed, anxious, stressed. They're having problems with their health and their mental health. They want to find their information quick and easy and feel safe and know they're in the right place. So if there's all these things popping up on the screen and you're trying to wow them with like moving pieces, that's not really what we're trying to do, right? So it is nice. You can sometimes have like hover interactions on your buttons maybe, or like, little pieces of scrolling. Maybe like if you have a team, it's nice to have your team, photos of your team that you can like scroll through before you click over to see their bios. Little interactions like that, but nothing major. We're still encouraging our clients to stick with clean, simple, static design. And then also with the way that you're formatting your text and your copy, nobody reads entire websites anymore. I don't know if they ever did, but they're definitely not now. So often on a DIY website, we can also spot that people just have a lot of information to share, and when they're designing it themselves, they're very passionate and they just write everything on there. So the text becomes a lot. If you're working with a professional designer or an agency, they will probably help you rewrite the copy so it's client focused, as I mentioned, but then also breaking it up. So we have smaller pieces of paragraphs and a few sentences bunched together, organized throughout the page, and formatting with like bold, italicized, underline. So you're making certain pieces of text stand out and making it easy to read, because everybody skims. I mean, this is also an accessibility design feature for like neurodivergent and ADHD folks who are reading your website, but this really applies to everybody these days. I feel most people are skimming through, right?
It's interesting. Just today, I was meeting with a consulting client, and he just got the first draft of his website back, and he's like, "Oh, I just don't like the italicized." And I'm like, "Wait, let's just look at what words they are." And it was just like connection for your family. And it was like connection, and then it was like a sense of home, and because he works a lot with families, and then it was like for him it was like experience. And it's like if people just
Yeah,
took the italicized words of connection, change, sense of home, and experience,
experience.
wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
that be good enough if they took those like four sets of phrases? And he's like, okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, that's really great. I mean, you don't want to overuse it for sure. The point of using the text formatting is to help draw people's eyes to specific words, like you just mentioned. And then also one other thing that kind of um, is frowned upon still in the mental health and wellness space is using pop-ups, and I still see a lot of people doing it. Studies still show that they are found to be very annoying and interruption. So if you want people to sign up or join or download something, you don't have to put a pop-up on your website. We suggest embedding them onto the page, on multiple pages throughout your website. So as people are scrolling through and reading and they see it, if they want to download, sign up, join, opt in, they can choose to do that. You're not, making something pop up in front of their face.
Yeah, yeah. Well, are there times that pop-ups are worth having on a website?
I don't know. Again, I think this is something that varies across industry. Like I was saying with the animation and moving pieces, there are times where I think it works in, tech and finance in certain areas like that, even in a coaching business. But with mental health and medical and wellness, I don't know. We're still seeing that they are disliked and frowned upon.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think
Announcement bars work really well though.
say that again.
So announcement bars, like at
Mm,
the top of your website, above your header. So if there is something important that you want people to know, instead of doing it in a pop-up,
mm.
there is an option on most website platforms to add like a little header, like a little bar above your header, so it appears on every page. And then you can like make that clickable or linkable if you want to like share something there.
Yeah, even
Mm-hmm.
just like when I'm working with consulting clients, when we're talking about, they're like, well, but I don't want to lose people's email. I want them to download my 17 tips for a better marriage or whatever it is. I'm like, okay, but imagine if you get one person that was gonna work with you, and because of that pop-up, they just lose track of it or something like that. If you're 150 a session and they would come 10 times, that's a $1,500 mistake. It's like just to get someone's email. Like, how often are you
Mm-hmm.
selling $1,500 worth of something through your email? And
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes when they hear that, it kind of clicks like, oh, okay, that pop up probably isn't the best thing for me.
Yeah. And then when you do get email signups organically without using pop-ups, then they're really it's it's more aligned. Those people are actually signing up because they really want to.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
So what else do therapists tend to screw up on their website?
Um, Lots of things. Let me see here. I think the next important piece to share would be about booking. This is still a big piece of friction we see with clients that come to Virtual Balance to work on their branding and websites. Is we always tell them you need to have online booking or a very seamless booking process. We want to make booking effortless. And the easiest way to do this and remove all barriers is to offer online booking and have some kind of scheduling platform connected with your website. And I receive so much hesitation on this, and I still don't really understand why. The most common thing I hear is like, oh, I want to be able to control my own schedule. But you still do control your own schedule. You set your availability, like you can do everything in the back end. If you have a team, they can set their own availability. You just have to stay on top of it. If you know you need a day off or you're going to be done early one day, you have to go in and put that so no one can book with you. But we see all of our clients who came to us who did not have online bookings before. That's one of the easiest way to increase conversions through the website. We have a couple of best practices. I don't know what booking platforms do you like, Joe? A lot of our clients use Jane app.
Yeah, I think Jane app is good. I think a lot of the EHRs have ones that are built in, whether it's like therapy notes or if they're using
Mm-hmm.
Headway. I know that
Simple
some
practice, we
people,
see
yeah,
that a lot too.
some people are using Calendly. I haven't looked in to see if they'll sign a business associates agreement, and there
Yeah, I
has
don't
been.
think they're HIPAA compliant.
Yeah, but then as I've talked to some attorneys, they've said that, well, because they're not yet a client, you don't have to follow that. And I'm like, I don't know. That seems like I don't really want that information going through like, Calendly too much. So I think
Well,
that, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I just had another note on that because we have had some of our therapy clients who have like an intake coordinator, and the potential clients are just scheduling a call with her. And then we have seen some of our clients use Calendly for that, and all the information they're collecting through Calendly is like name, email, phone number. So they're not really taking any personal health information. So I guess as long as you're not asking like, what are your struggles? Why do you want to come to therapy? As long as you're not asking any of those types of questions and they're just booking like a 15-minute consult before they become a client, then it's probably safe to do it in that regard.
As a therapist, I can tell you from experience that having the right EHR is an absolute lifeline. I recommend using therapy notes. They make billing, scheduling, note taking, telehealth, and e prescribe incredibly easy. Best of all, they offer live telephone support that's available 7 days a week. You don't have to take my word for it. Do your own research and see for yourself. Therapy Notes is the #1 highest rated EHR system available today, with a 4.9 out of 5 stars on trustpilot.com and on Google. All you have to do is click the link below or type promo code Joe on their website over at therapynotes.com and receive a special 2-month trial absolutely free. Again, that's therapynotes.com and use promo code Joe on the website. If you're coming from another EHR, Therapy Notes will also import your demographic data quick and easy at no cost, so you can get started right away. Trust me, don't waste any more of your time and try Therapy Notes. Just use promo code Joe at checkout. Yeah, I think the way I think through it is like, if that was released to the public somehow, just that they reached out to a therapist for an intake question call, like how would that client
Mm,
feel? And
that's
it's like,
true.
so I would say it's probably worth it to use the built-in for your EHR as much as
Yeah,
possible. And I do know that like Google Workspace will sign up business associates agreements, so there may be some tools
yeah,
there too. So it probably
yeah. I've heard
depends
that
on
too.
what infrastructure you already have too.
Yeah, of course. Okay, that's a good point. And with the online booking, a few best practices that you should follow is having these buttons that link to this booking system everywhere all over your website. Book now buttons everywhere. They don't have to say book now. You can say book a consult or schedule a free call, whatever you want to call them, but make it really evident that that's the next step they need to take. You can put the button in your header so it appears on every page, throughout your pages, and on the bottom of content sections as well.
Mm. One kind of rule of thumb we say, and I would love your thoughts on this, is
Mm-hmm.
imagine someone, gets in a fight with their partner and they decide that they want therapy, or they get in a fight with their kid or whatever the situation is. There's that breaking point where they're like, I need therapy. That in the time it takes their partner to go brush their teeth, so 2 minutes or less, they should be able to be on your website and by the end of that 2 minutes have booked their consult call with you.
Oh, I
Um,
love that. That's a really good example.
okay. Feel free to steal it. If you give
Yeah,
credit, cool. If you don't, but I think that the idea is that so often it's like someone will submit an intake form and then they don't have anything scheduled, and then they're just waiting on you, and it's like, why couldn't we just have the calendar first? We don't have to send the whole intake paperwork and all the
Mm-hmm.
insurance billing. Like, let's just get you scheduled to like talk to a
Yeah.
person or get you onboarded.
Yes. Yeah. Totally agree with that. We actually suggest, so one of the things that we do with our clients is we actually create a booking page on their website.
Mm,
So it'll be like yourdomain.com/book now or appointments or whatever you want to call it, but a page dedicated for booking. And then on there, we give three options. So the clients can book now, you book your own appointment online using Jane or whatever platform, fill out this contact form, and someone at the practice will get back to you, or call us during office hours. So this way, if because some people say, oh, my clients don't want to book online, they want to call, they want to fill out a form. So we say, okay, we
mm.
did this maybe like 2 years ago. We started doing this with our clients. And the funny thing is, 80 to 90% of the people still choose to book online their own appointment. So
Mhm.
that just goes to show you if you don't have online bookings and you're only having people fill out a form or call you, you're missing a big opportunity of people who do want to book their own appointments.
How important is it to have a consult call before the intake? Because I've heard some people say, if people want to come in, like just schedule your intake, like get it scheduled. Whereas others, like you think about a primary care doctor, very few of them are going to like talk to you for 15 minutes on a phone call before you come in. They'll say, just book your first session. And
Mm-hmm.
then other folks say, well, therapy is different. Like, maybe you want to talk to that person, or maybe you at least need the front desk to kind of just decipher whether or not they're a good fit or not. Like, where do you land in regards to like a free 15-minute consult versus not?
Yeah, I think that's a really good thing to think about and consider. And I think that it depends on the practice and the practitioner. A lot of our clients who are like just starting up and they're a solo practitioner in their own practice, they really want to vet the people. They want to make sure they can help them. And then we work with other therapy practices who have like 20, 30 practitioners who work with all different types of people and they know they could pretty much take on anyone. Then they're just booking people in and then matching them with a therapist based on like the form they filled out. So
Okay.
I think it could go either way and kind of depends on the practice and the therapist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like
What's your view? Do you have an opinion either
So I
way?
think first, I mean, I do think I'm big on optimizing a clinician's time. And so I'm just wondering, like, if someone was saying, well, I personally as a therapist want to do a 15-minute intake call and then do the intake. I would be like, well, what do you get in that 15 minutes that makes them more likely to come in or make your life easier to make that 15 minutes worth it? And most of the time, people
Mm-hmm.
don't have a good answer to that. So then it's like,
Okay.
well, do you need to do that? Or could you have an intake coordinator gather the information, say, hey,
Right.
this is what it's like to work with Joe. If you're outsourcing, that's going to cost you $20 an hour. And so
Yeah.
usually I think you can get most of it just through an intake coordinator. I do think that when you jump to having someone come in for an intake, there's not as much of an emotional connection with the practice if they haven't at least had the option to talk to somebody. So
Oh,
I
that's
think
a
the
good point.
onboarding tends to go a little smoother because they may show
Mm-hmm.
up and may spend the first half of the intake getting their insurance card or getting them onboarded and they didn't fill out the paperwork. And then it's like their first session is kind of wonky and that's not what you want
That's
anyone to have.
that's true. That's a good point because your onboarding in your first session really helps determine long-term retention as well.
Yeah.
So it could be worth it to have that extra step in there.
Now, I know you have more probably around the actual website, but once the website is optimized, I'm wondering like if you're running Google ads or Meta ads or LinkedIn, whatever ads you're running, any pay per click, are there things with a website that you would say you really want to have optimized if you're going to do pay per click advertising?
Okay, well, this is a really fun question because we actually don't do paid ads in my agency and the work that we do.
Okay.
All of the marketing we do is organic marketing. So we focus on attracting the right traffic through SEO, AI search, uh, blogging, email marketing is basically how we're helping our clients grow their practice through organic marketing. A lot of our clients are using ads and they're doing these things with, they'll hire someone separate or work with another agency. Sometimes they do have us design like landing page for ads so that it's like super specific to the keyword that they're trying to bring people in for. But that's pretty much all we've done in terms of supporting, um, in terms of ads.
Yeah. I think it's smart to like differentiate yourself that way. So like what if someone's gonna put say 5 grand into ads or 5 grand into organic search and optimization, like what's I mean, obviously when you turn the ads off, they're off. On the
Yeah.
other side, if you do the organic work, like what's the long-term benefit that you see even when people aren't working with an agency?
Yeah, so even though we don't offer ad services, I still think it can be a great option and a great opportunity for certain practices. You do typically need to have a higher budget, but you also get a return much faster, usually if it's done well. With organic marketing, you don't need as big of a budget, but it takes longer to see results. And like you said, though, those results are compounding over time. You don't, if you stop blogging or stop doing your organic marketing, you're still going to continue to get results from those down the road. Whereas, like you said, if you turn off your ads, they stop.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a benefit there. Both are good and can be used in different ways, but a couple of the ways that we love supporting our clients is through SEO and AI search, which AI search has been like a huge topic that we're always getting questions about these days. But really, what we're still finding that it comes down to is having your website fully optimized for SEO, like traditional SEO, and splitting up your service pages. So that's another mistake that I think I see. Often we'll have a therapy website, therapists come to us and they'll have one service page called like therapy services, and they'll list like 10 different services out on one page. So this is really confusing both for Google and for AI. When someone is searching for something on Google, for example, and Google's trying to figure out if it can match one of the pages on your website with their search, if you have all of your services on one page, Google's going to say, I think there's too much information on here that doesn't align, so it's just not going to show your page as a result. So if you split up your service pages and you have all of your specialties and services on individual pages where you can go really deep into root cause issues and how you help people and modalities you use related to that specific service, that's going to help you come up in search results in both Google and AI.
So good. What did we miss? I'm sure you have other things that we could probably talk for, many episodes, but any other big picture things around websites that you want to make sure we hit on?
There's always lots to share, but I think the last thing I'd like to mention is that blogging is still really important. Blogging is not dead. There's always this like old saying, blogging is dead. It's definitely not. And it's actually even more important now, even with AI search. So Google and AI both love active websites that have a lot of content and a lot of niche, really aligned content. So this is also a really good opportunity for you to lean into your niche and talk about those like root cause issues that people are searching for. Also, blogging is just like the easiest way to add valuable, consistent content to your website.
So awesome. Well, the last question I always ask is, if every private practitioner in the world were listening right now, what would you want them to know?
I would say, we all know the saying that you don't get a second chance at a first impression, and your website is often the first impression of your practice. So keep that in mind.
So good. If people want to work with you, where should we send them?
I'll give you guys my Instagram, which is virtuel.balance. We're usually on there, or LinkedIn. You can find me, Shayah Reed. And if your audience actually wants to know if their website is performing well, my team and I put together a really fun quiz, which I'm pretty proud of. We have like a lot of different outcomes based on how you answer the questions. It's like a diagnostic website quiz. So we can maybe leave that in the show notes, or I'll provide you guys with the link for that. But we try to make it actionable. So hopefully that will
do you know
be a
the
good
link
resource.
to that off the top of your head?
I think it's virtualbalance.com/diagnostic/website/quiz.
All right.
I'll have to double check,
Yeah.
but I think
I'll
that's
put
it.
that link in the show notes too, if for some reason that's not it. So, Shayah, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks, Joe.
What's great about building Great Lakes Online Counseling is that when I do this episodes, it's sort of like as much for me in the practice world as it is also for my new counseling practice. So as I'm doing this, I took a bunch of notes. I've had to start in my notebook, folks, like having different pages. Like I have my Great Lakes Online Counseling, like, don't forget service pages, blog, I have some things around hiring there that I need to work on, but then also stuff for Practice of the Practice. So kind of getting more out of my time here on the podcast than I used to. So also, if you want to follow that journey, at the time of this recording, I'm on, I think, week 12 or 13 of launching Great Lakes Online Counseling. The website's up. We're in the middle of hiring. I've talked about all those hiring snafus that have just been terrible. All of you group practice owners out there that are listening and your hiring is a little bumpy, I am with you in a real way. I had 20 people apply to work at Great Lakes Online Counseling and ended up having just 3 people reply to my invite to an interview, and all the interviews fell through. So not fell through like they didn't work, just like they weren't a good fit for what I was looking for. So when I get back from spring break, I'm going to be going through this. Lots of fun things coming up. Make sure if you're looking for support, come over to the Practice Academy. We have around 300 private practitioners that are in that membership community over at practiceofthepractice.com/membership. If you're looking for some consulting, head on over to practiceofthepractice.com/apply. Also, we could not do this show without our sponsor support. Therapy Notes is the best electronic health records out there. They've been a supporter for years, but even more importantly, they can help you grow and scale your business with their EHR. They have embedded in their system their own virtual way, similar to Zoom, of doing HIPAA-compliant teletherapy. They'll help you move from your current billing platform over to Therapy Notes. They have amazing customer service. A lot of these EHRs only have, text support or chat, but you can actually talk to a real person that will help you out if you get stuck. A couple years ago, I remember I had a client that had switched over and the old company wasn't releasing the things, and Therapy Notes did such an amazing job of coordinating so that therapist could get back to doing therapy instead of worrying about her EHR. They're an amazing company. Head on over to therapynotes.com. Use promo code JOE, J-O-E, at checkout to get a couple months for free. Thank you so much for letting me into your ears and into your brain. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Special thanks to the band Silence is Sexy for that intro music, and this podcast is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information in regard to the subject matter covered. It is given with the understanding that neither the host, the producers, the publishers, or guests are rendering legal, accounting, clinical, or other professional information. If you want a professional, you should find one.